Yeah, most sports talking heads make predictions, then hope you forget about how wrong they were. But not Mackey and Judd.
Write this down.
This is the big leagues, where we own our terrible predictions.
Write that down.
And keep track of each other's batting averages. It's Write That Down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
With Mackey and Judd.
Yep, welcome in. The 2023 Write That Down season is in full swing here. Declan dominated so decisively in 2022 he's the first ever player to hit 400 in Write That Down. He has decided to treat himself to a vacation to warmer grounds out in North Carolina to visit some family. I think he beat the blizzard. Although my sources at the airport are telling me that they're doing a good job of keeping the airport clear, and we are kind of, as it started, my window's closed. Has it started snowing again yet? But people are now getting stuck on the tarmac. This is what happens.
Yep.
You're sitting on I have a source telling me that they've been on the tarmac for over an hour at this point.
So it started. Yep. A little de-icing, and the next thing you know, the captain comes on.
We got to go de-ice again. We got to get off the plane, and then
de-icing is one of the biggest problems because it takes a while, and you got to wait in line to get de-iced.
Just take the risk, man.
Would you risk it? Like if the captain came on and said,
30% chance we crash, but we can fly out right now and try.
60-40, we make it.
But
we're going to put it up to a vote. And we're going to put it up to a vote. Yays and nays. Stewardesses or the flight attendants will take account. Who wants to go?
Yeah, I think we should try that and see what happens. Amazing. This is Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, entertainment, therapy, speculation. And on Wednesdays, we are the only show in America that actually keeps track of our predictions with statistics. When are you guys going to admit that you were wrong? And now people are, I've gotten notes lately that say, well, okay, I know you admit you're wrong a lot and write that down, but when are you going to admit that you were wrong on a non-write that down day?
Okay. By the way, It has gotten so bad that Phil, within his first week back, has been called a homer on Twitter by his wife. His wife called him out.
I gave KOC an A in the grading, and
she
tweeted at me in all capital letters too. I know.
She's a Kirk fan, I bet. Mackey.
She gets annoyed. She wonders why she gets annoyed by Kirk, but she wonders why he works me up so much. Like I'll just be like muttering when he checks down on fourth down. There was less muttering last year, though, in fairness.
Yeah, until the playoff game.
Let's get to it here, our accountability session. So this is how Write That Down works. 3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We can check a batting averages and home runs. And listeners, if you want to participate, like our guy Dean is about to, you can send us a message through the SKOR North app. We'll get you scheduled for sometime here early in 2023. Let's go through it. And by the way, AJ is going to make predictions. We have Declan via satellite. We'll make predictions, so it's a full bus here. All right, Judd, you had 2 things come off the board. You said the Wild would beat the Avalanche on February 13th or 15th.
Yeah, I got screwed by the flower.
And as Whole Macadac was kind of going through predictions from last year, this year, he did forget to give you credit for this one. This is going to be part of your last year's batting average. It moves you slightly closer to the, I guess, than the 80 points you were behind
thanks.
Declan.
You don't need to say that. In fact, you know what? I would, because it's a clerical mistake, I would like to put that on this year's.
Sorry, we can't do it. We did add it to your career total, but it counts accounting-wise on Write That Down.
Figured I'd ask.
Total. Yep.
Never hurts to ask.
You said Ryan Hartman will be a healthy scratch against the Flyers on Jan 26th or whatever the date of that game
2
was.
goals last night against the Kings.
3 in his last 2?
Yeah.
Dude, I know you kind of bailed on the Wild, but now they've won 3 in a row. They're like 6 points out of the 1 seed in the Western Conference.
They are?
I think so.
Are they 6?
I think they're 6 points clear of the Flames in the second wild card spot, I believe.
But how far are they behind the top seed?
Dude, I think, let me see. So in the Eastern Conference, you got like Boston has like almost 100 points.
Yeah.
So the West right now, so Vegas has 73 points in the Pacific. Vegas that's the top points team in the Western Conference, 73. The Wild are at 67 now. Now there's like 8 teams within 67 and 73. But it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I'll have some thoughts on that on JHS with AJ and Jesse Pierce. Nice. Coming out later today.
I told you guys the Wolves would win their next 2 games at home against the Wizards and the Hornets. They had a 20-point lead right away against the Wizards, and then they soiled themselves.
Terrible loss.
They lost control of their bodily function and fluids.
Ooh.
But then I did tell you that Tiger Woods, in his first competitive action for a long time, would shoot below par in one of the first 2 rounds of the Genesis Open. He did shoot below par in the first round. Little Tiger. El Tigre made the cut. Played pretty well.
What's his next tournament before the Masters?
I think he's just going to play in the Masters at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. He has basically said he's going to play in the 4 majors and then like maybe a small handful of other events. He'll play like 7 or 8 tournaments a year. The Genesis is one because he technically hosts the Genesis. And then I don't think he's going to play in like I don't think he's going to play in enough tournaments to make like the FedEx Cup playoffs. And plus that's a grind. It's 3 straight weeks. He can barely walk a course.
Yeah.
For 4 days anymore. Let's see. Listeners had nothing come off the board. Declan said Tiger Woods would make the cut at the Genesis Open. He did. Solid knock for old Dex. And so with that, we have just 1 week's worth of stats here for the 2023 season. Declan batting 1,000. He's 1 for 1. I'm batting 500. Judd and the listeners, no hits yet on the season. Career numbers, Declan, 387. Career, Judd, 328. I'm at 268 for my out more.
Yeah, I always love guys like you. Chronic underachievers.
It's a contract year for me.
This is going to be the.
This is a contract year for me.
All right, Jordan Greenway. You really pick it up now.
Judd, you have the all-time lead in total hits with 258. Some people are asking, well, how can Judd have 100 more hits than Declan, but Declan has a 50 points higher batting average?
Oh, yeah, time in the league.
Because Declan just started playing like halfway through the 2020 season with us. So Judd has like 2.5 years of stats that kind of
my at-bats are far exceed Declan.
Yep. Listeners have the most home runs with 42 to my 31. Judd 27. Declan with 25. So, all right, AJ, let's bring listener Dean in here to make some predictions. Dean, what's going on, man? You're making your debut on Write That Down. How do you feel right now?
Oh, I feel good. I've been workshopping a lot of predictions, so I'm ready.
Now, when you say workshopping, are you like standing up in front of a mirror and practicing? Is it a notepad? What's your process?
It's a notepad. I actually have a notepad here with my notes, but yeah, and actually some of my predictions have come off the board between the time I kind of signed up and between today. So I'm glad some of them had. I would have been bad.
Awesome, man. Hey, when did you first become a suffering Minnesota sports fan?
Yeah. So Judd, I'm just a few years older than you. But it probably was like in 72, maybe 73. Church group, we went to the Met to see a Twins game, left field bleachers. Yep. Harmon Killebrew's up to bat, hits a ball, and it's coming like right at me. And I'm just like, I'm probably, 8 or something like that. And I like just freaking out. And it actually ends up going over my head, like lands like 3 rows behind me. And kind of bounces around and stuff like that. But like after that, I was just like, I was hooked. Lived in the western suburbs, so definitely went to the Met a million times. As a when a teenager, then when you could drive, Kicks games, Vikings games, Twins games. So, but that definitely like that turned it on. That just seeing that ball coming right at me.
Love it.
I love the Met. The Met was great. Yep. Complete erector set, but a magical place for youth.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though, like when you tell your story about when you were a kid, you had Harmon Killebrew hitting you home runs. So I kind of grew up I was a mid to late 90s Twins fan kid, and so for me it was like Rich Becker hits a fly ball right at you. Alex Cole hits a ball that's gonna maybe land 20 feet in front of you as you're sitting in the $4 seats and left. But all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go around the room. And we got AJ making predictions, Declan via satellite. So we are packed here. We're going to go Dean, Judd, Declan via satellite, AJ, back to me. We'll make 3 trips around the room here. So Dean, lead us off. What's your first prediction, man?
Okay, I'm going to start right off with a parlay. So write this down. The Timberwolves will be a playoff team, not a play-in. So at least a 6 seed. and they will win at least one playoff series.
Wow.
And parlay that, the Lakers will be a play-in team, and they will not only win, but then they will win their first playoff series, or at least I'll say at least one playoff series.
Wow. Dean is swinging
You're
for the
going for it.
fences
The
here.
Wolves and former Wolves.
Yeah, right.
That's
D'Lo, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley.
60% of the Lakers starting lineup was Wolves starting lineup a couple years ago.
Yep.
Or not a couple years ago, last year.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Amazing. All right, let's go to Judd here.
Okay, with the change in rules in baseball, I think there's one that is significant enough that it's going to impact Byron Buxton positively, assuming he can play enough games, of course. So write this down. Byron Buxton will have 15 or more stolen bases this season. Just to put that into context, his career high in 2017 was 29, but he only had 6 last year. But with the pitchers now, I think they can throw over twice, and after that, it becomes a balk. That's just going to be a natural, a natural situation for guys like Buxton to take off once a guy throws over twice, assuming that takes place. So he'll have 15 or more stolen bases this season.
Once a guy throws over twice, doesn't it just become almost automatic, especially
and bigger bases too? So you've
against
got
a
a little
lefty.
bit more there. Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what that does pitch selection wise, because if you do that, your changeup essentially is out of the mix. You know, you're not throwing that hanging breaking ball.
I love where you're going with this, AJ. That is
that is a deep.
That's so geeky.
Deep
I really
dive.
respect that. That was
Thank you.
awesome. That was a great poll.
It was.
I mean, that's
that
just
was a
Jim
dynamite drop in by AJ right there.
Thank you.
That-
That
was Jim
broadcasting school
Kotlike.
really paying off.
An ode to Tim McCarver right there with that type of analysis. Good work.
Yes, it's true. I wonder on the 15 stolen bases, I was a little bit kind of torn because I like the prediction, but I also feel like it's very anti-Judd to even want Buxton to attempt that many stolen bases. That might
thought
be
about
like
that.
dangerous and a
I
detriment
thought
to
about
his
that.
health.
I thought about that. But 15's not, I'm not saying 30. Like, I feel like 15 is a realistic. He's
It's like
probably
two
not
per
going to,
month, 2.5
He's
per month.
probably not going to die doing it, and so I'm comfortable with the prediction.
All right, let's go to Declan via satellite here for his first prediction.
Okay, write this down as my dog Vincent squeaks his squeaky toy in excitement that mom and dad are on vacation and he gets to go spend the weekend with Nona and friends. So that's Vinny. We'll write it down. First prediction here. Max Homa came close last weekend at the Genesis. Just should have won it. I felt bad for him. The poor guy was crying. But write this down instead. Max Homa will win a major in 2023. Write it down.
Vinny going to town on some toys out there. Yeah. Max Homa, I think he's kind of becoming. He was a big like Barstool. I don't think he was like officially on the Barstool staff, but he was like part of the Barstool guys thing for a while. So he's becoming a fan favorite, and he cried after narrowly missing the Genesis title last week.
He cried
It's
about
like
the
his
Genesis?
favorite tournament as a kid, and he came up just short. So he's becoming a fan favorite. All right, AJ, what's your first prediction?
All right, my first one. The Wild were a part of a trade with the Maple Leafs and the Blues recently. We saw Minnesota Wild legend Ryan O'Reilly net a hat trick last night, so congrats to him and his new career with the Leafs. But that's not the only trade that they're going to be involved with in the division. So write this down. Before the trade deadline, the Wild will be involved in some sort of trade with another member of their division.
Okay. So who are you off the record? Who do you got in your mind here? What are you thinking?
If Bill Guerin's feeling like a gunslinger, showtime. Patty Kane. I think it's going to be a lot of work to try to make that happen, and I don't really see that happening, but I've seen too many links now and maybe like rumors and whatnot of, Bill Guerin. He's got the cojones. He did it last year with Fleury. Maybe the Wild and the Blackhawks dance again. Otherwise, if somebody's willing to pay any price for Matt Dumba and you want to unload him for whatever it takes.
I think that's going to
And I think that's probably the more likely one.
Yeah.
But, for the optimistic excitement for Wild fans, Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks or Matt Dumba's going somewhere in the division to somebody who wants to try to contend with a little bit more defensive depth, if you want to be generous and call him that.
You know, I'm going to jump in here because I was thinking about doing this, but
Write it down. You like writing things down.
it didn't quite make the cut in my initial when I narrowed down to my 3 predictions. But now that you just went there, I'm gonna bring this in as an alternate. Write this down. Patrick Kane will play for the Wild. Well, I'll just be more specific. The Wild will trade for Patrick Kane before the deadline. I love it. And I don't think I get where you're coming from, Judd. Like, this team's going nowhere. Don't be fooled by a hot stretch, whatever. I don't think you can just punt a year of Kirill Kaprizov's prime. You're in the mix. There's no real top team in the Western Conference to this point. There's just 8 or 9 teams kind of jumbled up, jockeying for position. Patrick Kane's not the same dude that he was maybe 10 years ago, but is Billy Guerin looking at this and saying, let's just kind of, maybe we can trade Dumba for some asset of some kind. And I think there's a chance, especially winning 3 games in a row, because hasn't he basically said, hey, the team is going to show us what we should do at the deadline. Right. And now they've won 3 games in a row. Guerin seems like the type of guy that if the team answers his challenge, he will pay it off by giving them an actual piece that they can use to make a run. So the Patrick Kane, make it happen.
The team's play before that is what chases me away from a move, though, because I hate teams that, and the Wild has a history of this, the 11th hour, right? Okay, guys, we got to get it together now. Screw you. Show some consistency long before that. I mean, that homestand got off to a terrible start. And look, you know what? Let's see what this group can do. I mean, if this group can make a run, great. But I feel like this is not the year to try and add. But I'm with AJ. Dumba, if I can subtract, see you later.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Write it down.
Right.
You like writing things down.
Back to Dean for your second prediction.
All right, thanks. So I'm actually soccer is probably my favorite sport, and so I have to get a soccer prediction. And I'm not going to do a obscure Bundesliga prediction. So the Women's World Cup is coming up this summer, and the U.S. Women's national team is the past 2-time champions. But write this down: the U.S. Women's national team will not be the champions this year, and in fact, they will not be in the final round.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So
is this a home run?
I think it's I think it's a home run. I mean, they're still ranked number 1 in the world, but
I think it's a home run too.
Yeah.
What's wrong there? Like what? So why do you predict that?
Yeah. So 2 things. One, the team's getting older. They have some injuries that are kind of really devastating. Julie Ertz, who's married to, is it the Eagles?
Zach.
Yeah, to Zach.
Cardinals now, right?
Yeah. She's hurt. But also the other women's teams are just finally catching up, especially the European teams. Germany, Sweden, England, France, all of them are definitely invested more in women's soccer. I mean, there's a pretty decent women's Premier League right now. So I think it's kind of other teams are catching up, and I don't think the U.S. team's as good this year as they have in the past.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's same thing with the Vikings defense. It's just they're aging out. Like Megan Rapinoe, not right. Alex Morgan is well past her prime. She's still productive, but. Yeah. Exactly. I'm with you. I'm seeing a decrease. Yeah, it's going to digress.
You're calling for cuts. You're calling for lives to be altered for the country.
So Rapinoe is like the Eric Kendricks, just a long time steady force, but might be time to say goodbye. It can celebrate their career later on. I see it. All right. All right, Judd, what's your second prediction? Sorry, wrong button.
All right, yay! My second prediction was right. I don't even know what it is yet. Okay, so we saw in the Wild's win against the Kings last night, Kevin Fiala came back, and of course, Kevin Fiala was traded to the Kings for current Gopher defenseman Brock Faber, who is sure to sign with the Wild after the Gophers are done. Hopefully, it is a national championship. But whenever that is, and it will be in this season, write this down. So, and this could be a playoff game, but my guess is it will be off the record, a regular season game. Brock Faber will record at least a point in his debut with the Wild.
Okay.
Now the end on that.
Are we limiting that to this season or no?
Yes,
Okay.
but includes playoffs. So like if it's a playoff game, but in his first game, and if the wild season comes to an end with him not having played, this is just wrong. So like I'm not saying like, oh, he sits out until next year. Okay. I think he's immediately put into the lineup, and in that first game he gets, and this is the key, AJ, at least a point.
Okay.
So just in case he gets 2.
Okay. All right, let's go to Declan. By the way, I did see Declan just put a photo out of himself drinking a Bloody Mary at an airport bar of some kind while he waits for his flight. So he's just taunting us, going to warmer, non-snowy weather.
Odds that Declan and the gal get so drunk and delayed that when the flight does take off, they're not allowed on it. Sir.
Sorry, sir.
Sir, we're going to have to.
I just want to go. Let me talk to your manager.
I'll de-ice the plane.
You're talking to the pilot. I'm talking to the pilot. All right. What is Declan's second prediction via satellite?
Okay, prediction number 2. Guaranteed of no Vinny barking. I can't guarantee it. We'll see what happens. Write it down. Minnesota Wild prediction. Philip Gustafson does not have a shutout yet on the season. So write this down. He will post a shutout between now and the next 2 weeks. So between now and 2 accountability sessions, Philip Gustafson logs his first shutout.
He almost got this right. I would guess that he did this prediction before last night's game, and it was almost right, but I don't think it would have counted because we don't trigger these till Wednesday, right?
No, he would have, because it wouldn't have been when he recorded the video. It would have been when the video actually ran on the show. Yeah. So, all right, AJ, what's your... Oh, go ahead.
Quick fact check there for Declan, but Philip Gustafson did record his first career shutout earlier this season.
Oh
no!
Just throwing that.
Oh, now he's batting 500. Isn't that a shame?
Well, what do we do? So technically his it was context leading up to the prediction that he had not. So the context was wrong. The prediction is we can replay it. I think he's still okay.
I'm throwing a challenge flag.
Okay, prediction number 2. Guaranteed of no Vinny barking. I can't guarantee it. We'll see what happens. Write it down. Minnesota Wild prediction. Philip Gustafson does not have a shutout yet on the season. So write this down. He will post a shutout between now and the next 2 weeks. So between now and 2 accountability sessions, Philip Gustafson logs his first shutout.
And to be fair, he did write on the sheet. He said that he doesn't say like he'll get his first, he posts a shutout.
I agree. Yep.
I'm just kind of curious here. I just want to go through and see here.
Gotcha.
It was in Vancouver in early December. 35 saves and a shutout against Vancouver. So the context was wrong, but the prediction technically still stands.
I think he's fine. I do think that Phil, text him and say it's caused great debate. It'll ruin his trip. It'll be great.
He'll get super nervous. Yeah, I'll send him a note.
He'll get super pissed off.
What if I just text him, hey man, do you have a sec to talk later?
No, because then it won't be say, hey, there's a problem. Oh no, just say there's a problem with your second old school. Write that down. Prediction.
We can discuss when you get back.
Yes. Yes. Hate to bring this up. Hope you got off in time with your flight.
Have a good trip.
Have a good trip. It'll ruin his trip.
All right, AJ, what's your second prediction?
All right, my next one, similar to Dean, I'm going to stick with the soccer theme. Yeah. The Loons, the local squad, kick off their season this Saturday, 7:30. You can hear it on ESPN 1500 or online live.scorenorth.com or live on the Score North mobile app. It'll be Jonathan Harris and Dan Terhar on the call, but they take on FC Dallas, and they still are missing their star boy, Emmanuel Reynoso. He is nowhere to be found in the country of Argentina. They can't contact him. They don't know his location. He is not currently in the country. They will be without him for the season opener on Saturday. And based on your facial expressions, that might be news to you. But I'm predicting, write this down, that they will be shut out in their season opener when they travel down to face FC Dallas.
So how do they find him then? What's the solution here?
From my understanding, his phone number has been changed. He is no longer with his wife or girlfriend, whichever one the technical relationship is. They don't have a exact location on him. They have not contacted him, and whether it's he just wanted to get away or something a little more dire is maybe undisclosed or just unknown, but they just do not know where he is currently.
This feels like a Ted Lasso episode.
It's pretty incredible. We
Well,
talked about this a little bit on the Loon
track
Talk
someone
podcast,
down.
but it's insane. But yeah, he drives their offense. He's a focal point of progressing up the field offensively, and without that, I think they're going to be lost, especially against a good Dallas squad. So they will be shut out in their season opener.
Are we concerned about him, like not as a soccer player, but like if he's gone off the grid? That sounds far more dire than just a guy who is not happy with his new contract or something.
No, they don't know. Like a lot of people just don't know whether it's he's doing like a James Bond, I'm leaving the life type thing, or if something is serious going on. So
Just shows up to practice on Tuesday. Just hey guys, sorry, my phone. I had to charge my phone there for a few weeks.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, I'm going back to the Wild here. Going back to the Wild well. Write this down. The Gus Bus. The Gus Bus is going to start more games moving forward, regular season and playoffs this year, than Fleury. So from this, I know he started like 3 in a row. They're giving Fleury a little breather. But the Gus Bus will be, I'm basically saying he will be the main goalie. So he will start more games, regular season and postseason, from this point forward. So you might want to put the date on here, February 22nd, than Fleury. Is there any reason other than ego and status to not do this?
Not unless the Gus Bus falls apart, which, it's goaltenders. They're weird, but no. And I don't think Fleury, so privately, he might not like this, but he's not really, he's not like a bad teammate. So like this would be Dean and Bill, I think, feeling bad if you're wrong. But if Gustafsson continues to play as he has been of late, no, I think you're right.
Okay.
It's a good prediction.
All right, let's go back to Dean here. Dean, your third and final prediction.
Okay, thank you. So the Gophers men's hockey team is ranked number 1 in the country and playing. They demolished Penn State last week, and Penn State's decent. And I think, Judd, you already have a prediction that they're going to win the Natty this year.
I think I do.
I'm going to go write this down. The men's Frozen Four this year will consist of 4 Big Ten hockey teams.
Whoa!
Oh man!
Whoa!
Well, so they're pretty good. Obviously Minnesota and Michigan are probably locks for 1s. Penn State and Ohio State probably 2s. Maybe Penn State could be a 3. So and Penn State is as a host. So the NCAA could mess us up and put like Ohio State in the Gophers bracket or something like that. But they're definitely, I think the Big Ten for once is probably the best hockey conference, at least this year. So
interesting.
Love it, man. Dean coming in hot today.
NCHC, not happy. Quinnipiac,
no, I'm not
happy
thrilled
with
about
Dean.
that. I'm
not happy with Dean at all right now. They're very upset.
I'm sorry, it's nice. So North Dakota is a host this year. That's probably where the Gophers will end up. But North Dakota is like ranked 20. They won't make it unless they like win their championship.
AJ's very happy about this.
I love
goaltending problems.
Yeah,
I believe for the Fighting Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hate that.
Well, Dean, great work here with your predictions. Love the big swings here. Since you've got this life-altering platform right now, is there anyone you'd like to thank that helped you reach this pinnacle moment?
Yeah, actually, I would like to thank the Minnesota Vikings for basically like tearing my heart out so many times that at this point I can watch sports without emotion. I can just watch it for the competition. So the Loons give up 2 goals in the last 10 minutes of a conference championship.
Yep.
Who cares? Pagan, gives up a through-in bomb after the Twins are ahead. It's like, who cares? It's that was fun. That was fun to watch. So I have a much healthier approach to sports, and it's because of the Minnesota Vikings.
Awesome,
your sports soul is gone. Is basically what you're telling us.
It's zero. Yep.
You just have no sports soul left.
Yep. Right.
Wow.
Great stuff, Dean. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Good luck with your predictions, man.
See you, Dean. Thank you.
All right. Awesome stuff there. All right. Before we make this final round here, coming around turn number 4, We should tell the audience the Choice Bank Minnesota Golf Show is happening this weekend. The snow should be subsided by the time Friday, Saturday, Sunday rolls around, and we're going to be there. So we're pretty much there every year, either doing live radio back in the day or podcasts. I'm a big golf nerd, but you and I, Judd, are going to be hosting a Purple Daily Town Hall Q&A. We're calling it just a fun little gathering, informal. We will have the microphones rocking and rolling. So if you guys want to come in, ask some Vikings questions, kick some reckless speculation around, drink a couple adult beverages, 2 o'clock Friday, 2 o'clock Saturday, Minneapolis Convention Center, Hall B, inside the Choice Bank Minnesota Golf Show. So tickets are ordinarily $12, but if you enter the promo code PURPLE by midnight Wednesday, you get $8 tickets, and that also includes like a bunch of free rounds of golf and other perks, and it's just a fun time. MinnesotaGolfShow.com. That's MinnesotaGolfShow.com. All right. Judd, your third and final prediction.
Write this down.
All right, I'm going to stick on the Marc-Andre Fleury train because I think it's a good one to be on.
The flower.
Marc-Andre Fleury will not be on the Wild roster to open next season. So he will either retire or be traded. Here's why.
Because he's under contract, right?
Yeah,
he's under contract.
2-year contract. So I'm talking about the last year of his current contract. But with the way that Gustafson's played, and at some point in time, if not opening night, Jasper Wallstedt is going to become the goaltending partner for Gustafson. I wouldn't be off the record. I wouldn't be shocked if at the age of, because he'll be going on, I believe Fleury will turn 39 late next November. I wouldn't be surprised if he just said, you know what? It's been a Hall of Fame career. It's been great, but I'm not the goaltender I once was. So he will not be on the opening night roster for the Wild next season.
Okay. Okie dokie. A little reckless speculation. Within write that down. Okay. What is Declan's third prediction here via satellite? AJ?
Okay, final one, write this down. I think I should have led with this because I don't know if Judd maybe even sniped this already, but maybe I'll make a extra play on this if it was taken from Judd, or maybe even AJ, to be honest. He might have taken this as well. And if it is nullified, contact me, and maybe it's just already off the board. I don't know. But write it down. The Wild will trade Kalen Addison between now and the start of next NHL season. So if he's moved at the deadline here in like less than 9 days, or if he moves this summer, this hits, the Wild will trade Kalen Addison.
A very talented young defender. Would they just do it because he doesn't do the defender part of being a defender and they're just sick of it?
Something weird's going on here. Something weird. They've scratched him for 4 consecutive games. They clearly, like, just to put it at its simplest, they clearly don't like him. And so, yes, I think that he doesn't play the style that they want, but he is a points producer on the power play, which I'm not going to scoff at. There are some who think that Goligoski is playing right now in place of Kalen to showcase him, which I don't really get. Like, he's going to get you a bag of pucks. So I don't like, this isn't a showcase for, oh my God, we got a second round pick for Goligoski. But yeah, I think Declan's probably onto something right there.
Okay. All right, AJ, what's your third and final prediction?
Write this down.
All right, my final one. So currently, Kirill Kaprizov has 67 points on the season. He is tied for 15th overall in the NHL. I have a feeling that, and I'm basing this off of kind of last night's look with Ryan Hartman, kind of reemerging, as Jake Milton said, having his swagger back. I think down this final stretch here, they're going to turn it on even more so than, and more reliant on him than what they already are. But Kirill Kaprizov will get into the top 10 for scoring by the end of the NHL's regular season. And I'm already washing like 2 or 3 of these points because there's no way he's catching a guy like McDavid, who is just a freak of nature. 105 points already. 105.
Yeah,
it's
That's
ridiculous.
insane. Man.
But he's kind of right in that mix. He's not necessarily right on the heels of the top 10, but he's in spitting distance.
Okay. All right, write this down. Final prediction. Got to make a Wolves prediction here. All right.
There we go.
They needed a week off, and so did Mike Conley. Mike Conley was saying, I haven't slept. This whole trade thing, I'm just worrying about logistics and stuff. That's why I didn't score in that game against the Wizards. So he played 33 minutes, did not score a point in that Wizards game. Mike Conley, write this down, will knock down at least 3 3-pointers in the Wolves' next game against the Hornets. So a little Mike Conley bounce back, at least 3 3-pointers. He's averaging I think 1.8 made threes or something a game. So he'll ring it up for 3 and have a bounce back game. And those are the predictions, gentlemen.
Write this down.
There we go.
So I think the note to Dex should say, your third prediction was fine. We need to talk about your second.
It can wait till after your vacation.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And your third one, Judd or AJ didn't steal it. But your second one, we're going to need to discuss.
Judd and I had someone above us one time that used to give us the text message during the show of "come see me after the show," and it was like, oh my god, are we getting fired? Like, what is? You'd sit there for 3 hours.
That would screw up the rest of your show.
We need to talk. Oh god. Oh no. Amazing. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for AJ stepping in for the vacationing Declan here. Reckless Speculation Thursday with our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson tomorrow on Mackey and Judd. If you could, click the subscribe button and the like button on the SKOR North YouTube channel. It helps spread the word about this Minnesota sports community that we are building. And a 5-star rating and a positive review on the Mackey and Judd Apple Podcast page also does the same thing. See you guys.